Hi everyone, I'm Angie Jaramillo. I'm here day 3 of Apex Global Expo. With me, I have Jack Kavanagh. Hi Jack.
How are you?
Good, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, delighted to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I just have a couple questions. You were a panelist earlier this week, and I just wanted to first ask, how has your personal experience influenced your decision to come here and speak on a panel?
Yeah, well, look, as you can see, I bring my own chair with me. I suppose I always say I've had two different perspectives in life, and that I'm fortunate in that way. You know, I spent the first 20 years of my life on my own 2 feet, and the last 12 sitting down. I sustained a spinal injury when I was 20, and I've always been an avid traveler, very adventurous type of person, and that has remained true since I acquired a spinal injury. But the way of traveling has changed, I suppose, and through my personal experience on the challenges and frustrations and many indignities with traveling over the past 12 years, that's really came to a head in the last 12 months and prompted me to action. And so that's where what we call the AeroFix Project came out of, and it's led me to places like Apex and onto panels, and I'm starting to make some ripples in the industry for change. And you know, joining a panel at the likes of Apex is really important because we'll get into what we discussed on the panel, but it's not just me is the important piece. We've got allies across the industry now, people that are seeking and understanding why change is important in terms of increasing accessibility. And it's not just for passengers like me that have acquired a disability, but it's the changing demographics of those that are traveling. You know, 15% of the global population have some form of difference in their ability, whether it's a hearing or visual impairment, a mobility challenge like I have, or many people with intellectual challenges as well. And the thing is we're all living longer with diverse abilities. As we age, our abilities change as well. And so this passenger segment isn't going away, it's growing. And so having better ways of and new ways of engaging with that passenger cohort and empowering them and giving them dignified and streamlined experiences when they travel, just like we attempt to do for any other passenger. That's going to be important and increasingly important as time goes by. So engaging in that conversation at the moment seems to be a little bit of an inflection point in the industry. So it's been great.
Your voice is certainly an important one in the industry, and I'm so glad you're here to speak on behalf of accessibility needs in the industry. Let's get into your panel a little bit. What were the key takeaways, would you say?
Yeah, so our panel was called a cross-industry approach, and to enhancing the passenger experience by innovating for accessibility for all. A little bit of a mouthful. And as you said, it's day 3. I just about got that out. But what were the key takeaways? Look, I was on the panel with Ingo from Airbus, Tyler from Delta Flight Products, and Joe from Priestman Good, and all of those organizations have been very active in collaborating around accessibility and innovating for accessibility. Our takeaway was really that you know, there's good things happening in silos, but we need cross-collaboration, cross-pollination of those ideas, and people working together to move the needle significantly in this area. If we're going to make industry-wide change, we need industry-wide collaborators. And so that's possibly the first piece. The second piece I'd say that was an important takeaway is there are great innovations happening. And so you've got the innovators on one level, you've got the regulators in the middle, and then you've got the legislators. And often the regulators are squeezed between the innovators and the legislators. Sometimes it is the innovators that push regulation to change. Sometimes it's the legislators that push regulation to change. And what we were encouraging is that actually for standardization of basic approaches across the industry, regardless of the geographic location, that we need the innovators, regulators, and legislators working together, and at least singing off the same hymn sheet, you know, of standard approaches. And so they were two really important things. And then the third thing that we really hammered home on that panel is just what we spoke about on the first question is, you know, this passenger segment isn't going away. In fact, it's growing. People with different forms of disabilities, yes, are living longer, but they're also upwardly mobile. And so they are engaged in the workforce. They are traveling for work and for pleasure. Generally, when they travel with 1 to 2 people. And so there are not just incentives of this is being the right thing to do, but actually there's a business imperative for this as well. And so it's to see that opportunity, and a phrase that I like to use in this area is, you know, help me help you. You know, from a business perspective, seeing that this isn't necessarily an additional thing that you have to do, but it is a passenger that you need to accommodate in the same way that you accommodate other passengers, and in doing so, that passenger adds to your bottom line, and you're also helping them, giving a solution that they need, you know. So that help me help you piece is really important. So I'd say they're the core takeaways, and the need for cross collaboration. This is a growing passenger segment that's not going away. The requirement for innovators, regulators, and legislators to have a standardized approach. And maybe the final one that I touched on there, which has just escaped my mind, was also important, I'm sure.
There's clearly a lot of steps and a lot of things that need to be done. But to our viewers, to our audience, is there anything you can recommend for immediate steps that airlines can take?
Yeah, well, this came up in conversations yesterday with some other folk, and I think the most basic step in any innovation process, you know, design thinking is often talked about in innovation processes, and the most important step nearly always is empathizing, you know. And so that is putting yourself in not just putting yourself in the other person's shoes, but engaging directly with the end user, whether that's for a physical innovation or a technical innovation, like a product innovation or a technical innovation or a process innovation. It is to put yourself, yes, into the end user's perspective, but also to engage with the end user, because inevitably they will use a product, service, or whatever it might be in a way that you had not anticipated as well, and so that is really important. But an easy next step is to, I suppose, extend the scope of that empathy and say, you know, as much as we talk about innovation in products and technology, and there's been a lot about AI coming on stream in this conference as well, and as much as all of that is important, at the end of the day, much of aviation still relies on human-to-human contact, and that customer centricity and customer client relationship is really important, you know. And so I think empathy comes into those interactions as much as it does anywhere else, and the basis of checking in with people, understanding how they are and how you can help. They're simple things that transcend ability, disability, or all kinds of sort of innovations that occur. That basic humanity piece is really important,
100%.
and I think restoring that in much of the service delivery is a simple step that can be taken.
Thank you so much, Jack. I'm so glad you took the time, and to anyone who has questions for Jack, I will put your email and your information in the post.
And please, if you're tuning in, go on LinkedIn, look up the AeroFix Project, a little bit about what we're doing. And thanks so much for having me.
All right, enjoy the rest of day 3.
Cheers.